right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on the School of Hard Talks, helping parents have better conversations with teens. My name is Kelly English. I'm the director of the Children's Behavioral Health Knowledge Center at the Massachusetts Department of Mental Health. We are really excited that you are all here today to learn more about this exciting work to help support parents. We know that with COVID and everything going on in the world, that parents now more than ever are really on the front lines with their kids. And we've also been having for many, many years parents telling us that they really want skills themselves for how to have better conversations. Don't leave all the good stuff to the clinicians. So that's what you're here to learn a little bit about today, is this innovative approach to teaching parents kind of some real basic communication skills that many people working in the mental health and substance use disorder fields learn in the course of their training. So we're going to share some of that with parents so they can feel more confident and capable in their conversations with their kids. So before we get started today, I want to do a couple of housekeeping items before I introduce our presenters for today. First, we are going to be recording today's webinar, and we will post it later on the Children's Behavioral Health Knowledge Center website. We are also going to be posting the slides there as well. And if there's any questions that you may have, feel free to type them in the chat. We'll save questions and respond to questions at the end, but we'll be doing a moderated Q&A at the end of today's session. So without further ado, I am going to introduce our presenters for today and turn it over to them. So first up, we have Dr. Emily Klein, who is a psychologist in the Department of Psychiatry at the Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center and Harvard Medical School. We also have Teresa McIntyre, who is the coordinator of family-driven practice for the Metro Boston area of the Department of Mental Health. And Heather Tebow, who is the research assistant for Dr. Klein and who is responsible for all the participant recruitment and all things logistics for this effort with our families. So I'm going to turn it over first to Dr. Klein.
Okay, thanks, Kelly. So thank you all for joining and your interest in this project that we've been working on over the past year. It's been a highlight for me of my professional life, so I'm so excited to talk about it with more people. We're calling it the School of Hard Talks, helping parents have better conversations with teens and young adults. So, okay, so what we're doing is actually taking a skill set called motivational interviewing, which is a communication style that's widely used by professionals to talk about making healthy changes. And we're teaching some of those skills to parents of teens and young adults who are experiencing mental health or behavior problems. So when professionals use MI, research shows that the patients they speak to are more likely to make and sustain healthy changes, like reducing their smoking and drinking, or adhering better to medications as they're prescribed. And we're hoping that if parents use these skills, it will help them have better relationships with their kids and help them to facilitate better choices by their kids as well. So it's a little bit counterintuitive, but motivational interviewing, the philosophy is based on the premise that actually our best way to influence other people's behavior is by respecting their autonomy and creating the space for them to explore their own ambivalence about their behavior and whether they want to change. So it's a very different approach. than what most of us have as our go-to skills as parents. So why would parents want to learn motivational interviewing? Well, even though it does require training and practice, the building blocks of motivational interviewing are actually pretty simple. Things like asking open-ended questions, listening carefully, and reflecting back what you heard. And we'll go through some of those in this presentation. So what we wanted to know in our team is whether parents and other loved ones of teens and young adults struggling with mental health challenges can use these techniques to have better conversations about hard topics and help their kids make healthier choices. So I've been working with the CVH Knowledge Center in Kelly since last summer, and along with Heather and Teresa, we've really worked hard to develop this content and try and make it as relevant as possible to parents of teens and young adults. And we got to work closely with a real MI training expert and kind of go through all of her materials to understand how she teaches these skills to professionals so that we could take those concepts and translate them for parents and families. So obviously in the past year, a lot of people have had to be creative and flexible and rethink their plans. We had initially planned to offer our sort of pilot course as a 20 to 25 person actual in-person experience in Boston. But when we had to change our plans, we decided to make it a virtual course that would be 4 2-hour sessions with 6 to 10 participants per course, and create material so that we could continue to offer it on a rolling basis. So, and that was actually more successful. We had a much easier time recruiting parents once we made it virtual. So that was an interesting lesson to learn. So what we ended up with is, like I said, 4 2-hour sessions of totally original training materials. And each session contains a mix of didactic information, group discussion, and experiential exercises to learn the MI philosophy and skills. And we actually did this as a research study so that we could formally study the feasibility and effectiveness of this program we're developing. So we have a research protocol that was approved by both BIDMC and the Department of Mental Health. So here's what we talk about in the School of Hard Talks. So it's 4 sessions, and the theme of session 1 is building a stronger relationship, just hitting the reset button on relationships that are often full of conflict and burnout and difficulty. So we encourage parents to think into the future and imagine what they want that relationship with their child or children to eventually look like. And we talk about the writing reflex, which is this impulse to always, that every moment is a teaching opportunity or an opportunity to solve a problem for someone else, which is something that we all do as parents, and it can drive our kids nuts. So we have some videos and experiential exercises to think that through. On the second day of the training, we focused on building understanding to decrease conflict and de-escalate. So really learning some key building blocks of the motivational interviewing skills to diffuse power struggles and have more open-ended, productive conversations. On day 3, we want to get parents ready to build their toolkit a little bit more. So we give them some additional skills and we show them how to put it all together so that they have a little bit of a guide to navigate tough conversations. And on day 4, we continue to practice, but we also talk about the end game of getting kids to be more responsible and autonomous. And we help build some skills around encouraging parents to encourage their kids to try and tackle problems on their own before going to mom and dad or grandma or whoever automatically for help. So in our course, participants learn about the spirit or philosophy of motivational interviewing. And I think this slide really kind of sums it up, which is that in order to consider making a healthy choice or a change, kids need to feel understood, like someone's really taken the time to get their perspective and value it and think that what they think is important. They need to feel confident, like that they're not being asked to do something that they simply cannot do. Like, for example, I might want to exercise more, but then if you said, okay, great, let's meet in the morning for a 10-mile run, that's just not something I would feel confident doing. And I'm not going to have any enthusiasm for that idea. And perhaps most importantly, they need to feel in control. And this is really tough because, kids, teens and young adults are in a healthy way trying to become independent, build their autonomy, make their own good life decisions. And both COVID and mental health problems have gotten in the way of that in a major way. So we teach parents about this philosophy in order to help them ground their conversations in these principles. But this is all pretty abstract. We also teach them a lot of good tools, really concrete tools for their toolkit that they can try out at home. So these are things like asking open-ended questions, being quiet and waiting for a response, reflecting words and feelings, asking permission before offering advice or suggestions, and encouraging kids to tackle problems on their own and reminding them that ultimately they have to make good decisions by asking questions like, so what do you think you're going to do next? So I can't see people, which is a little intimidating. I'm used to being able to see all the parents' faces on the screen kind of nodding along. But we thought it would be fun to talk through one of the skills. So one of the really core skills here is reflections. And a reflection, I'm sorry. I stopped sharing my screen because I wanted to make sure I could see the chat. Let me do that again. Okay. So I don't think I'm going to be able to share my screen and see the chat, but that's okay because other people can see the chat and chime in. So one of the core skills that we teach is a reflection. So a reflection is a way to really communicate that you're listening carefully and you're not just waiting for your turn to talk, and that you really value and respect the other person's perspective. It is a statement, not a question. And it has to be specific, not generic. We teach parents, you can't just say, oh, that sounds hard over and over again, because kids feel like that's not authentic. So what you do is you repeat back either what you heard the person say, or you take a guess at maybe the feeling they were trying to communicate with those words. And the idea is to help the other person feel understood, accepted, and to hear their words back to them, really hold up a mirror. So they can think a little more deeply about what they meant or whether they really meant what they said. So here's some examples of reflections. So say you're having a conversation with a young adult about their marijuana use, and they say, well, all my friends do it, so it's not a big deal. Just get off my back, okay? Most parents would be tempted to get into a debate about the merits of that statement, right? They would say, well, actually, it is a big deal because it's affecting your physical and mental health. Or they might say, not all your friends do it. Getting at the accuracy of that statement is, I think, that's our reflex as parents most of the time, I think. So a reflection is very different. You're just reflecting back. So you might say something instead like, okay, so smoking weed seems normal to you. Or what I'm hearing is that you think I'm making a big deal out of nothing. Here's another example. So, if a teen said, I don't know why my teacher emailed you. I told you she hates me. Rather than, again, get drawn into a debate about that, or try and point out all the behaviors that the teacher has that would suggest maybe she doesn't hate you, you would just reflect. So, okay, it doesn't seem fair, or it doesn't make any sense to you. Just as a way of making sure you got it right and encouraging your teen or young adult child to kind of go deeper and think more deeply about the situation. So when we do the group, we have parents practice. So once we've taught this skill, we want to make sure everybody can try it out. So what would I think be fun is we could practice right now. If everybody could use the chat to put in a reflection for these statements. So ready? So, take yourself back to April, May, and imagine a teen saying, oh, I can't believe prom is canceled. My senior year is ruined. So take a minute to think about, what a reflection would be for that statement, and type it into the chat. Great. So Erin suggested, I hear that you're upset you're not able to attend prom. And Kelly Reed said, that feels disappointed to you. I'm sorry, this is very disappointing, is Shauna's suggestion. So those are great. You're reflecting back both the content, right? I know prom is canceled, and taking a guess at the feeling underneath, disappointed. That was important to you. This really stinks. So these are all great. Nice job, everybody. And I think this is a really different kind of response than maybe parents' first impulse, which is, that your baby is sad and suffering, and you want to help solve that problem for them. So you might go right into problem-solving mode, like, oh, let's do a virtual prom, or minimizing the problem, like, prom is not a big deal. I didn't even go to mine. And I'm hearing you all of your suggestions are spot on for sort of a motivational interviewing take on that, which is, yeah, I like this one. Jan says, missing the opportunity to dance with your friends is irreplaceable. Perfect. So I figured out the chat, so that's good too. All right, let's try another one. How about this? There's no way I'm not going to the beach. These rules are ridiculous. So if you can think of a reflection for that, go ahead and put it in the chat. Nice. Joanne suggested, sounds like you think these rules are unfair. Emmy Campbell suggested, you're angry, you can't get to do the things you want. Yeah, taking a guess at the feelings. Frustrated, unfair. Great. Nice. Perfect. So let's do one more. This one often gets familiar groan from the parents. If you heard a teen say, but I like playing video games, there's nothing else to do. How might you offer a reflection for that? Bored. Yep. Bored, frustrated. Nice. You feel like something important to you is being taken away, or you feel like you don't have anything else to do. Nice. All right. Perfect. Well, I know this is a crowd of, oh, I like that one. You enjoy video games and nothing else seems that fun. I know this is a crowd of mostly clinicians. You all get it right away, but we probably also have some parents on here too. So thank you all for participating in that. All right. Okay. So that's kind of a little sample of what parents get when they participate in this course. And I'm going to close the chat, but I know that Kelly and Heather will be keeping an eye on it. So when we did this, we, as I said earlier, we set it up as a research study, and we wanted to really hold ourselves accountable and think about how will we know if we succeed or if we need to change things. So we kind of have three buckets of success metrics. So one is the feasibility. Will parents want to do this? And once we decided to go virtual, do they have the technology and expertise that they'll need to participate? Will they be able to or interested in attending all 8 hours? Because that is a lot. And will they be willing to do the pre and post training assessments and evaluations? We also wanted to know if parents like it, right? So did they like participating? Do they want to try out these things with their family, or was it just kind of an intellectual exercise for them? Would they recommend it to a friend? And of course, we want to know if we are really helping people with their core problems. So does this course impact parents' reports or ratings on measures of family conflict, personal stress, and their confidence as parents? Because we thought those were the things we were really hoping to help people with. So for recruitment, we created a flyer and a website to facilitate recruitment. And Teresa in particular, but all of us, you know, hit the ground, and then we hit the virtual ground to promote our project at parent support groups, system of care meetings, local adolescent psychiatry clinics, into school counselors and parent partners. And I'll tell you, we got off to a slow start and then we stopped. But once we decided to make that transition to offering this as a virtual training, we were up and running. Parents were really interested in participating. So we enrolled 9 parents for round 1 of the group in May, 10 for round 2 in June, and we're just wrapping up with 9 in our current group, and we're continuing to enroll parents for September, October courses. So we have 39 participants enrolled and assessed as of a couple weeks ago. 19 have totally completed the training. We have 9 currently participating. 2 initially expressed interest and then changed their minds. And there's 10 who are planning to participate in either September or October groups. Heather, we had to use a platform called Starleaf, which is fine, but it's not, you know, all this telehealth virtual meeting stuff is new to everybody, but especially people are a little bit used to Zoom. Starleaf is a new one for everybody, so Heather oriented everyone to that. And there's been, I think, 1 or 2 parents who have required some additional training after the first session or before the first session to use the platform. But we've mostly gotten there with everybody. So here's some information about who has signed up to participate. The 39 people who have enrolled, 52 is the average age. It's mostly moms, couple grandmas, couple dads, mostly white, but with some ethnic and racial diversity. Half and half, single parents versus married or residing with a partner. And most of them, it's been a more educated crowd. A lot of them have attended college. And we've been able to enroll people from all over the state. As you can see, we even have a couple islanders. It's unexpected to me. In terms of why they're enrolling, we ask them in a survey before they start, you know, are any of these things a problem that you're having with your child? And so you can kind of see the concerns that parents are endorsing about their children's behavior. School attendance and performance is the most common. Attending appointments or taking medications is a big one. Substance use, is a problem for about a third of our participants. And some of them are just concerned about their children's isolation, and some of them really concerned about fighting and violence that they're seeing in their kids. So most have already had a good amount of involvement with the mental health services system. So 95% reported that their children had already received or continue to receive individual therapy, and about half had already gotten some family therapy. Some of our parents also reported more like high intensity involvement. So you can see most of them, their kids have an IEP or 504 plan. About half of them report that their children have had at least one psychiatric hospitalization, and about a quarter are reporting involvement with DCF or DMH, and two with DYS. So before they start the training, we ask them, as part of our pre-training assessment, what do you hope to gain from this training? So here's some examples of what people said. Some of these are kind of funny. To grow in my ability to communicate with my teenage children and not sink to their level when I get frustrated. Ability to engage meaningfully with my child, less lecturing, more her discovering her true self. A way to help my daughter feel comfortable talking about her feelings and her thoughts. To be able to communicate about tasks not done or needing to be done without them taking it as a personal attack on their worth as people. And yes, chores are a huge theme of what we talk about in the group. And to communicate better with all my children who all struggle with mental health issues that prevent them from attending school and enjoying their free time with friends and families. So these are parents who are really dedicated to their kids, really looking to increase their skill set and develop better relationships with their kids. Just super motivated, wonderful people. So in terms of acceptability, where, people vote with their feet, or I guess with their screens these days. What we've found is that parents like being in the group. All of our parents in group 1 attended all 4 sessions, and 9 out of the 10 in group 2 were able to attend all 4 sessions. And I'm going to hand it off to Teresa to talk a little bit more about parents' reactions to being in the groups.
Thank you, Dr. Klein. I just wanted to highlight a few things before I go into this slide. So one of the things I wanted to highlight, that we wanted to provide a space for parents to feel safe to talk about whatever they had going on, and also to feel like non-judgmental. And I think we created that. Parents were open, and the first day, of course, but by the second or third session, they opened up, which was nice to see. Prior to coming to DMH, I was a parent partner facilitating support groups. So oftentimes during the sessions, I would give my own examples of things that worked with my child. And I think parents really appreciated that. And also Dr. Klein and Kelly gave examples as well. So I think they really appreciated that we also gave our lived experience part as well. So the first thing is, what is one thing you liked about today's session? So here are just some examples that we wanted to find out from parents. What did they like about the session? Help me to see that I'm not alone struggling with parenting. Casual give and take conversation. Feeling that we are all searching to understand and communicate more effectively with our kids. Practicing reflection and asking open-ended questions, even though it feels awkward. And Dr. Klein made me feel really comfortable. The chance to participate and observe the role plays. And lastly, participants and the instructor are very open and thoughtful. I also like being calm and de-escalating was integrated into the content. Okay, next slide. So we also wanted to know, what would parents try at home with their child? And the highlight was just listen. I think a lot of the parents had mentioned that they've always tried to just fix the problem, and they were really going to take the time out to just listen. Everything we learned was very helpful, going to work on my reflections, giving my kids a sense of autonomy, reflecting and being curious in order to de-escalate and get my son talking. I like the 5 steps. It makes it easier to remember. I've been practicing with my kids and friends. And lastly, we just wanted to know, what else would you suggest or we should work on for next time? Parents wanted more examples of teenage situations about their anxiety about the future or being overwhelmed, just about everything they need to do. From a practical standpoint, managing participants' microphone settings so that we could hear everyone was on mute. Expand the scope to help parents navigate things like drug use, school attendance, diabetes management. And really enjoyed this course. I'm interested in attending a more in-depth program. Have you considered having multiple workshops, beginner, intermediate, etc.? And also just wanting to have the opportunity to continue learning on this topic. One of the things that we provided as additional resource was resources on like local support groups that they can attend, parent support groups, connections with different organizations like Family Ties or PPAL, Parents Professional Advocacy League, and Family Ties. And we also provided one-on-one. So I would do like weekly check-ins to check in to see how things are going, if they had any questions or concerns. So just throughout the training, they were getting just all the support they needed. And I think I'll turn it back over to Dr. Klein. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so that was like a lot of the qualitative feedback that we got between the sessions, but we also measured through surveys that they filled out before and after participating in the training. We wanted to understand the effects of the training on different domains of family wellness. So for instance, we had surveys about conflict, closeness, something called expressed emotion, which is parents feeling critical or extremely anxious about their children, their confidence as parents, and their personal stress levels. So far we've had really good luck. Not luck, Heather's done a great job of engaging parents in the assessment process and getting all of them to do the pre and post intervention surveys. So here's some of the effects that we found. And I just pulled 3 for this webinar. We haven't looked at everything yet. These were just 3 that I think of as being really critical. So one is family conflict. And we measured this using the conflict behavior questionnaire, which is 20 items that are the parent picks true or false. And the items are things like, my child often seems angry at me, or on the reverse side, for the most part, my child likes to talk to me. So higher scores are worse, more conflict. And we actually were excited to see that parents are reporting through the conflict behavior questionnaire lower levels of conflict with their kids after they complete this training. Another domain that I'm really interested in is something called expressed emotion. It's a measure of criticism and over-involvement, and expressed emotion has been found across a lot of research to predict mental illness course, like whether someone's likely to get better or worse when they're having a mental health problem for youth with a wide range of diagnoses. So expressed emotion has been studied in psychotic disorders, eating disorders, depression and bipolar disorder, and across all of those different kinds of problems, attitudes of parents who feel really angry at their kids, critical of their kids, and like they can't stop worrying about their kids, those kids tend to do worse. So we measured expressed emotion using the family questionnaire, which has items like, I tend to neglect myself because of them, or I'm often angry at my child. And that's a scale that is 20 questions, and each is like a range of 1 to 4. So it goes up to 80. And what we found was a reduction in parents' expressed emotion from before to after the training. The last thing I'll show you is a scale we gave them about their confidence as parents. So it's 10 items that they rated on a scale of 0 to 100, and then we took the average of that. And the items said things like, I feel sure of myself as a parent, or no matter what I try, my kid does not do what I want. And we found that their parenting confidence actually did go up after they took the training. So we didn't have any kind of control group. So, we can't say for sure. Maybe just all that togetherness that we've all had has really made people feel more confident as parents. Totally possible, but we are hoping that our training had something to do with it. So our next steps in terms of our goals for the next year are to continue to enroll participants and offer more rounds of the training. We want to work with parent partners to make sure that the material is culturally relevant to diverse families. I want to make sure we show off what we've done and publish and present our findings and let people know about it. We're also going to be working with the Donahue Institute, the UMass Donahue Institute, to professionalize our slides and materials, and also to create some self-help materials that can be used maybe as a refresher for parents who want to make sure they don't forget what they learned, or maybe a standalone self-guided experience for parents who maybe aren't ready to be in the group but are looking to do a little bit of learning on their own. And I want to make sure that we develop a process for training new facilitators so that agencies can maybe host groups at their own shop. All right, so I'm going to let Heather tell you about our website and the process for if you want to participate or you have families who you think might benefit.
Yep. So we did create a website, and we also have a flyer that I'm sure we'll be able to get to you after today's webinar. But our website is a really good way for parents or other interested individuals to find out some more information, about motivational interviewing, about our team, and information on how to sign up. So this website link is a great resource if you have any parents or others that are interested in learning more. They are also more than welcome to get in contact with us. Our contact information is on the website and also on the flyer. We have an MI study email, which is checked very frequently. So we do have a turnaround rate, and we can get back to parents very quickly, like within 24 hours. We also have a phone number that is available for parents to call or text. It's usually checked between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. So that is a really great way for parents to get in contact with us. And we are more than happy, if parents are interested in learning more but not committed to signing up yet, we are more than happy to send more resources their way to see if they're interested in joining as well. So.
Okay, thanks, Heather. So that's all of the material that we prepared. Definitely interested in people's questions or comments, suggestions, anything like that. And I think Kelly is going to kind of moderate that.
Yeah, so thanks, Emily and Heather and Teresa, for this great work and sharing today. So there were a few questions that have come in. Maybe I'll start with some of the easy ones first about sending the flyer and the phone number. We can definitely do that. We'll make sure that we share that with folks after the webinar today. We'll send out some materials. And Heather, maybe you could mention when the next, if you didn't already, maybe I missed it, when we're enrolling for the next group, the next.
Yeah. So we are currently enrolling for our September group. Those dates currently are September 11th, 18th, 25th, and October 2nd. and those will take place from 10 a.m. to 12. So if parents have that availability, they can get in contact with us. But if they don't know their schedule, we know that things are changing every week for COVID. We invite parents to get in contact with us anyway. That way we have their contact information for when we create new dates. That way we can just reach back out to them very easily.
Great. And Heather, maybe you want to pop into the chat the link to the website.
Yeah.
So one question that came in from Joanne Flatley. Hi, Joanne. I know Joanne. So so Joanne's a family partner, a senior family partner and family partner coach at Riverside. And she was asking if, as in her role as a family partner, could she attend with a parent that she's supporting?
Maybe Teresa can take that one.
I think yes. I think especially when parents are not sure about joining something, to have that extra support, to have that additional support. So I definitely recommend. I think it would be great, especially, and maybe she would just attend the first session, and then after that, maybe the parent would feel more comfortable just doing it on her own.
Yeah, I think one thing we'd want to wonder about is there may be family partners who are also, they have their own kids, and because we're doing this as part of a research study, we may ask people to enroll as part in the study component as well, and we do have criteria about who can enroll in the study, that Heather can review with people. So that may be something, to we'd have to think about as well. So let's see, Jason asked about if there was a book that we might recommend that covers motivational interviewing for parents specifically, not just a regular generalist MI. So Emily, I was wondering if you wanted to answer that.
It's like definitely in my 5-year plan. I don't think there is one. I've never seen that. I think, we're really developing the concept. There are some resources that we've gathered, within our team that we see as sort of, am I consistent, or like neighbors to MI? Like Kelly, you recommended the book, The Self-Driven Child, right?
Yeah, that's right. So that kind of parallels a lot of what people might learn in the class. Particularly, it's a book that focuses a lot on kind of fostering independence and getting your kids ready to launch, which are a lot of the skills that are in session 4. So that's one I'd recommend. Absolutely.
I wrote an article that was in the Boston Globe magazine this spring that talks about some of the skills. So you can check that out. We can, send that out as a PDF, or maybe Heather would be able to put the link into the chat for those who are interested. But yeah, I think, it's something that I'm really passionate about, getting these ideas out to parents. And I don't think that there's a book that, offers these kind of skills in a family-centered way.
So a question from ART Relief, I think it was. So they were asking about that concept, Emily, that you talked about around expressed emotion, and just wondering about that terminology and how it differs from expressing an emotion, like I feel upset or sad or frustrated. So can you talk a little bit more about that kind of nuance there?
Yeah, good question. So I don't know who came up with that name. I don't think it's a very good one, to be honest. I think it seems to be talking around something. I would probably call it, feel that the feeling that many parents of kids and adults with mental health challenges have, which is you worry about them constantly and you get really frustrated that they can't do things that you thought they would be able to do. And I think that's a really common experience for all parents, but especially when kids are struggling. And, you know, it doesn't, so that's my interpretation. I see motivational interviewing as a little bit of a flip to that, right? Because if expressed emotion, as bad as the name is about feeling like your kid is disappointing you, or that you can't ever just let them do their own thing because you're always worried about them. Motivational interviewing hopefully teaches a little bit of an alternative approach where we make the assumption that all people have values, that they do have motivation to do things. It just might look different, and that they may not be acting on their motivations because they're not feeling understood, confident, and in control. And most of the parents who participate are quick to identify their kids' strengths. So, they'll tell us, oh, my kid is really creative. Their friends love them. Their kids have lots and lots of strengths. And yet still, as parents, they drive us nuts sometimes. So it is a confusing name, but yeah, it's not about expressing all emotion. It's about particularly the emotions of criticism and wanting to kind of feeling like you can't give up control. You have to be there every step of the way to make sure things don't go wrong.
So I was wondering, this question is for Teresa. I was wondering about you as a family parent partner, and your role in the course, like how you've seen maybe impact in your own life and use skills, just with your own kid or in your own family life, if there's anything that you've found particularly useful as you've been kind of facilitating the course.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I had mentioned in the last session was that parents, just to be transparent, right? And to let parents, let their children know they're trying something new, because the feedback that we got from parents was that, Mom, why are you acting weird? What's going on with you? Or, are you a psychiatrist? What's wrong? So I think when parents are just open with their children, and I think it's just better results, and that they can do this together. So oftentimes I would give examples of something that happened with my daughter and how I cope with it, and I think they really appreciated hearing that, and I think it helped them to feel like, okay, I can do this. So that was one of the highlights that I realized throughout the session, is that parents, you don't need this thing in front of you like a script, like, okay, what did you say? Like, just be natural about it. And I think children appreciate that more as well, when you're open about what you're trying to just try something different.
Yeah, that's right. It is kind of a new way of communicating that can feel awkward at first, but the more you do it, kind of the better it starts to feel and the more natural. And so just being honest that it might sound a little awkward at first is, but we're working on this together, right? I'm trying to make some changes. I'll say personally as a parent, just to add on to what Teresa's saying, that impulse to fix it for your kid is so strong. And I often find myself and wanting to do that with my two kids, constantly offering solutions when I'm seeing them struggling, because it's so painful, right? You want to help. You don't want them to feel bad. You don't want them to feel frustrated. So I was constantly kind of doing a lot of like, well, how about you, why don't you do this? Have you tried this? What about, blah, 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 right? And so one of the key skills that, I use a lot now in my own life with my kids is asking them permission before I give advice about something. And that has it's a simple technique that we talk a lot about in the class, that writing reflex. But then if you are going to offer advice, you know, you do it on their terms, and it's really shifted a lot of conversations in my own house. Let's see. So I'm not sure if there's other questions that have come in. I know there was one from Joanne, but I'm having a hard time scrolling up on the chat feature for some reason.
I saw a question about whether this is free for parents. So yeah, right now it's a research study. So there is no cost to participate, and we don't bill insurance or anything like that. And if parents are willing to do the research study, we'll actually pay them for their time doing the assessments before and after the study. So, and in terms of providers, I'm not sure what the question is. Like, I think if you can participate in the research study as a parent, it's certainly free. Hopefully we'll be putting our heads together and figuring out a way to train providers to offer this, but we're not exactly sure what the plan is.
Right. Right. So in other words, the question Joanne had earlier about could she participate as a family partner, given the research study component of it, as long as she meets all the other research, the enrollment criteria to participate in this study, it sounds like we would welcome family partners as long as they meet all the criteria right now.
Yeah, and those criteria, I saw another question about age.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we're offering the group for parents or grandparents, caregivers of youth and young adults 14 to 24. You know, we were really interested in kind of that transitional age where parents are struggling with, you know, realizing I really don't have that much leverage. I can't get my kids to do things I thought I could. So that's the age group that we're focused on right now. So I think there's a question about a 22-year-old, and that family would certainly be welcome to participate.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Well, if there's not other questions, we are really thrilled that so many of you took time out of your busy days to join us and learn more about this work. We hope many of you will know parents who would be interested and want to participate in our groups and in the associated research study. So feel free to get in touch with Heather and check out the website. And we will make sure to post this recording. So if you have colleagues who couldn't join today, or parents that you think might be interested in listening to this, we will post it on the Knowledge Center's website, which I might have somebody type into the chat for me. But it's the center's website is www.c as in cat, b as in boy, h knowledge.center. And we will post that on the webinar section of the center's website. So thanks to everybody for being here today. Thanks again to Emily, Teresa, and Heather for their great presentation and work on this project. And I think that's it. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day, and have a great afternoon.